I leave town for just 3 days. 3 freaking days! To help my sister move into her new apartment, thinking I'm just gonna come back and relax. But no, when I roll back up to my lot, there it is, a full-blown carnival, right smack on my property. Yeah, a freaking Ferris wheel, spinning like it owns the place, tents everywhere, food trucks lined up like it's a county fair. You're probably thinking I'm exaggerating, right? I wish I was. Kids are running around with cotton candy, a woman shouting raffle numbers through a microphone, and there's this giant banner across the entrance that screams, "Proudly hosted by the Greenfield HOA." You want me to be mad? I'm downright dumbfounded. If you're watching this while hiding from your own HOA drama, hit that like button, leave a comment about your craziest HOA nightmare, and don't forget to subscribe because this ride's only getting started. I sit there frozen in my truck, jaw practically knocking on the steering wheel, staring at what used to be my quiet, empty, 2-acre commercial lot, the one I bought as a solid investment. It's zoned commercial, right on the edge of the neighborhood, perfect for future development, and now it's a playground for the neighborhood's idea of a good time. Without a single call, email, or even a, "Hey, what's up?" I get out of the truck slowly, like I'm stepping into a crime scene, and bam. This orange-vested woman with a clipboard walks right up and tells me I can't park there. "It's vendor only," she says, blowing a whistle like she's some festival cop. I blink at her, tell her I own this lot, and she just stares like I've sprouted a second head. Then comes the punchline. "It's HOA Karen. Of course it's Karen. The HOA queen with a god complex and zero respect for property lines. The woman who's found people guilty of having the wrong Christmas lights or grass blades the wrong height. I've heard the stories, but never had the pleasure of dealing with her personally. Until now. I leave my truck where it is and weave through the crowds, careful not to knock over any popcorn buckets or inflatable mascots, and spot her standing on a tiny stage with a sequin sash that says, "HOA Chairwoman." She's holding a mic like she's about to MC the Oscars, and she's announcing the pie-eating contest like it's the event of the year. I climb up the stage edge, and she jumps, like I'm an intruder. "What are you doing here?" she asks, eyes narrowing. "What am I doing here?" "Karen, you turned my commercial lot into your personal carnival." She smirks, says the lot was an eyesore. The board voted to designate it for community use, majority rules. I stare at her like she just recited laws from Mars. "You can't vote to use private land," I say. "This isn't the Hunger Games." She waves me off, dropping some HOA jargon about community morale and beautification, acting like a porta-potty and funnel cake stand is some kind of architectural masterpiece. I take a slow breath and realize arguing with Karen in front of 100 festival goers isn't going to help. So I step off the stage, pull out my phone, and start snapping pictures. Every booth, every power cable plugged into stolen outlets, every crushed flower bed. This isn't just a mess, it's a crime scene, and I'm the investigator gathering evidence. Back at my truck, 2 teenagers sit on my tailgate like it's part of the carnival, one licking a popsicle. I ask if they know who set this up. "Mom said the HOA runs it," one shrugs. "It's like a thing now?" "A thing?" I mutter under my breath. That's the problem. Karen declared war, wrapped it up in streamers, and told everyone it's a family-friendly thing, but it's still theft. Stealing my space, my investment, my rights. I'm not some crank. I poured serious cash into that lot, and to Karen, it was just her playground. Then a food truck driver comes up, clipboard in hand, asks if I own the place. He says he paid $2,000 to set up there, straight to the HOA. Fraud. I take the check, snap a photo, and smile because this fight just got real. If you're digging this saga, smash that subscribe button, drop a like, and share your own HOA stole my stuff story in the comments. This ain't your usual property drama. Over the next couple hours, I gather everything. Conversations, maps, photos, even drone footage from a tech guy showing off his toy. I haven't even told these people what I do for a living. 10 years managing venues for touring acts and corporate events, seen festivals shut down over zoning violations, contracts shredded, organizers bankrupted over a single wrong permit. I'm a pro at this. These folks, clueless. Karen thinks she borrowed a field. She just activated my revenge plan, meticulous and bulletproof. I look at the chaos one last time. Lights flashing, kids screaming, Karen snapping selfies in front of the carousel, and whisper, "Let the games begin." By sunset, I'm at my kitchen counter, surrounded by photos, videos, receipts, and black coffee, hungry but fueled by adrenaline, plotting the takedown of a whole HOA. The only thing missing? You. So hit that like, drop a comment, and stay tuned. Next part? We dive deep into Karen's twisted kingdom and how I turn her own game against her. All right, so I'm sitting at my kitchen counter, coffee cooling off while my brain's running circles. Karen, queen of clipboards and chaos, thought she could just roll over my property like it was a patch of sidewalk. But here's the kicker. She didn't just steal space, she forged a whole paper empire to cover her tracks. I mean, who does that? Turns out, Karen's been busy behind the scenes cooking up fake meeting minutes, secret votes, and slipping vendor cash into her HOA events fund like it's her personal piggy bank. Talk about HOA gone rogue. I'm talking deep, well-organized fraud that would make any soap opera jealous. And guess who just stumbled into the middle of this mess? Yours truly. Now, I wasn't going to just storm the castle with a pitchfork. Nope. I'm the guy who's seen a dozen festival shutdowns, who's danced through contract hellfires and walked out with my boots cleaner than when I started. So I bring in Miranda. Sharp, savvy, and just a little bit wicked with property law. When I tell her what Karen pulled, she laughs like a kid at Christmas. "This is gold," she says, and I'm thinking, yeah, Karen's about to get a lump of coal. Miranda starts scribbling legal codes, whispering about cease and desist letters and complaints to the city, and suddenly, this HOA carnival isn't looking like a fun family outing anymore. It's looking like the trial of the century waiting to happen. But it's not just me and Miranda in this fight. Out of the blue, I get a text from Taryn, some quiet board member who's been watching the chaos unfold from the sidelines. He's tired, fed up, and ready to blow the whistle. He hands over emails that read like the script of a bad crime drama, Karen telling her crew no permits needed, no one will sue, and instructing the treasurer to funnel vendor money straight into the HOA event fund without any official paperwork. It's a smoking gun, bigger than a Ferris wheel, and it's sitting right in my inbox. Suddenly, I'm not just fighting a neighborhood petty tyrant, I'm up against a full-blown criminal enterprise dressed in sequin sashes. The story starts leaking like a busted water pipe. I call Max, my journalist buddy, and within hours, he's sniffing around with his camera and notebook, chasing the real story behind the carnival. Meanwhile, city inspectors show up, eyebrows raised so high they almost touch their hairlines. No permits, no licenses, no clearance. The official word? Karen was playing fast and loose with the law, like she was auditioning for a role in How to Lose Your HOA in 10 Days. And just like that, the whole neighborhood starts buzzing. Some people are curious, some pissed, and others, well, they're just plain scared about how much their HOA dues might end up paying for Karen's mess. Karen, bless her deluded heart, doubles down. She fires off a sugar-coated newsletter blaming me, the disgruntled landowner trying to ruin the fun. It's so soaked in arrogance you'd think it was a lemonade stand manifesto. But here's the thing. She claims the board voted unanimously to use my land. That vote? Totally fake. Taryn sends me real meeting minutes proving the budget was marked TBD, and Karen's decision was her own solo act. The kind of twist that makes you want to laugh or cry, sometimes both. I forward everything to Miranda and Max, knowing we've got the upper hand. The dominoes are lined up, and it's only a matter of time before they fall. If you've ever dealt with an HOA nightmare, you know it's like wrestling a swamp monster. Messy, exhausting, and full of surprises. But this time, we're not just splashing around. We're calling in the heavy hitters. So, if you're feeling this story and want to see how to turn the tables on bureaucratic bullies, hit that like button, leave a comment sharing your own HOA horror, and make sure you're subscribed, because the next chapter? Oh, it's where the hammer drops, and Karen's carnival starts spinning out of control. I'm staring at my laptop screen, running numbers on an invoice that's about to blow Karen's little festival scam wide open. Site rental, power hookups, damage fees, insurance risks, you name it, I'm billing for it. When I finish tallying it all up, the total's creeping just over $90,000. 0 cents. I'm not doing this out of spite, no, this is strategy. This is the kind of invoice you send when you want to make sure they remember who owns the lot. Miranda, my lawyer, grins like she just found buried treasure. "They're going to need a legal exorcist," she says, and I can't help but laugh. Because the best part? Karen still thinks she's throwing a community party. She has no idea a legal storm is about to crash her carnival. But here's where the plot thickens. Just as I'm gathering my evidence, I get a text from Terrence, that quiet HOA board member who's suddenly feeling brave. He's got emails, loads of them, like the one where Karen says, "No permits, no interference," straight up admitting she knew what she was doing was illegal. Or another, where she orders the treasurer to stash vendor payments off the books. It's a mess of shady backroom deals, forged votes, and ignored warnings. Terrence's quiet whistleblower act flips the whole game. Suddenly, I'm not just the angry landowner, I'm the guy with receipts that could bring down a small country. And trust me, Karen won't see this coming. Word spreads fast. I call Max, my journalist friend, and he dives headfirst into the story. The city zoning inspector stops by my lot, eyebrows shooting sky high as he checks the event registry. No permits, no licenses, no approvals. The city's on the case, ready to nail the HOA for every violation. Meanwhile, neighbors are buzzing, some angry, some just stunned. Karen fires back with a public newsletter blaming me, the troublemaker trying to spoil the fun, but nobody's buying it, especially not when Terrence sends me proof that the board never even voted on using my lot. The whole thing's a one-woman show, and the audience is starting to boo. Inside the HOA boardroom, the tension's thick enough to cut with a butter knife. I wasn't invited, but thanks to Terrence's phone, I get to listen in on the chaos. Board members shouting, accusing, walking out mid-meeting like it's a reality show gone wrong. Karen tries to spin it as a community unity event under her power, but cracks show fast. One board member calls her a dictator, another storms out crying about fraud. It's the slow unraveling of a kingdom built on shaky ground. And I'm sitting back enjoying the show? The graffiti on the HOA office door and the chalked $90.00 K mistake in the sidewalk? That's just neighborhood justice served cold. Now here's where things get personal. Daniel, a neighbor who's been quiet this whole time, knocks on my door. He thanks me, not for revenge, but for standing up for principle. If they get away with this, what's next? Your house, your backyard, he says. We talk about petitions, votes, and finally taking back control. The community is waking up, and for the first time, I'm not alone. But Karen? She's not giving up without a fight. She sends a stiff email claiming my invoice is excessive and unwarranted, inviting me to talk it out. I almost laugh, because this isn't about talking anymore. It's about making sure she pays, and pays big. If you're feeling the heat of this HOA drama and want to see how smart moves and patience pay off, don't just watch. Join the conversation. Like this video, drop your wildest HOA story in the comments, and hit subscribe to stay with me through the fallout. Next up, the courtroom battle where Karen learns that playing dirty comes with a price. Trust me, you don't want to miss the next chapter. Courtroom lights are nothing like the flashing neon of a Ferris wheel, but they shine just as bright when you're about to watch a queen fall. Karen shows up in her usual power suit, but there's a sweat glistening like a busted sprinkler on her forehead. Her lawyer stumbles through excuses, trying to paint the whole carnival as community confusion and good intentions gone wrong. The judge, though, he's not buying it. His eyebrow raises so high it almost taps the courtroom ceiling, and I swear it's throwing shade harder than any HOA newsletter ever could. Miranda is in her zone, calm, ruthless, slicing their defense into legal confetti in under 15 minutes. That's when I realize this isn't just a win. It's a public spectacle Karen won't forget. But here's the surprise nobody saw coming. Karen personally gets hit with a portion of the $90,000 bill, not just the HOA. Her smirk fades into a grimace when the judge calls her willful misconduct. Suddenly, she's the one losing more than just the crowd's favor. The courtroom silence breaks only with the gavels banging and the lawyer trying to hide a groan behind his papers. I lean back, imagining the headline, "HOA Queen hosts most expensive street fair in county history," doesn't sell a single ticket. The irony is so thick you could cut it with a gavel, and believe me, I'm savoring every slice. Outside the courthouse, the neighborhood is buzzing like it just won the lottery. The news hits the local paper fast, framing the case as a landmark fight against HOA overreach. Online comments flood in with a mix of disbelief, support, and petty joy. My favorite? A photo of a for sale sign planted firmly in Karen's yard, captioned, "When your HOA resume doesn't transfer to the real world." A few creative neighbors even mock up flyers for a new event dubbed Ethan's Law Days, complete with cartoons of gavels smashing Ferris wheels. I hang a copy in my garage and chuckle every time I pass it. Karma's got a wicked sense of humor, and right now it's running the show. But the story isn't over yet. With Karen out of the spotlight, the HOA office starts to clean house. New leadership steps in, promising transparency and reform. Terrence, the whistleblower turned interim president, rolls up his sleeves and starts dismantling the kingdom Karen built on secrecy and fines. The board shrinks, financial records open up, and for the first time in years, residents actually get invited to meetings where their questions get real answers. The energy shifts, no more forced smiles or dictator emails, just honest neighborhood talk. I'm invited to the next meeting, not as a fighter, but as a guest. And trust me, the vibe couldn't be more different. So here we are, standing on the edge of something new. The lot is quiet now, free from carnival chaos, but filled with promise. I'm still the guy who fought for it, who played by the rules better than anyone else, and used their own arrogance against them. And let me tell you, that feels damn good. If you're loving this story and want to see how legal smarts can beat HOA bullies, hit that like button, drop a comment with your wildest HOA experience, and don't forget to subscribe. The next part is coming up, where we rebuild the lot, the neighborhood, and maybe a little bit of trust, too. Stay tuned. So the dust settles, and my lot is quiet again. No more flashing lights or screaming kids, just the faint echo of the chaos that was. But here's the twist. That empty gravel patch I fought so hard for, it suddenly became one of the hottest rental spots in town. Yeah, irony's got jokes. Word spread fast that this controversial property was finally legal and ready for business, fenced, lit, with permits lined up like soldiers ready for inspection. Suddenly, folks who'd sneered at me were knocking on my door, asking if they could book the space for their own community events. Karma just opened a legit business for me, and it's laughing all the way to the bank. Meanwhile, the HOA board, under Terrence's interim leadership, is pulling a 180. No more secret meetings or shady decisions. The board shrinks, they open their books, and residents actually get to speak up without fear of being shut down. Imagine that. A neighborhood where transparency isn't a buzzword, but the law of the land. I get invited to their first open meeting, not as a rebel, but as a guest, and the mood totally different. Genuine questions, honest answers, a few laughs even, real ones, not the tight-lipped, please don't rock the boat kind. It's like watching a bad soap opera turn into a feel-good family show. But rebuilding trust isn't instant. Some old wounds run deep, and some neighbors still eye me like I'm the villain who crashed their party. That's fine. I'm not here to make friends with the fearful or the entitled. I'm here to set an example. And the best part, I get to see the neighborhood actually start healing. People are sharing tools, recipes, and gossip again. The neighborhood barbecues come back with a vengeance, and the lot? It's quiet now, but it's also a symbol, a trophy of boundaries respected and lines firmly drawn. And yeah, I'm planning a few upgrades, turning it into a community hotspot that's legit, safe, and actually fun. Now here's the irony that's sweeter than any funnel cake. On the anniversary of that chaotic festival, the neighborhood holds a new event, the Unity Market. This time, it's legal, insured, and held where it belongs, the community park. And guess who's the honored guest? Yours truly. They even sell t-shirts that say, "I asked before I fest," which I buy on the spot. Shaking hands with neighbors I hadn't talked to in years feels like a full circle moment. It's the kind of redemption story that even a cynical guy like me can get behind. So if you're still hanging in here and loving how a little patience, smart moves, and a lot of coffee can topple a HOA empire, show some love. Hit that like button, share your own neighborhood standoff stories below, and subscribe for the final part where we wrap this all up with a bow and drop the mic on Karen's saga. Trust me, you won't want to miss how this all ends. You'd think after all the court battles, boardroom chaos, and neighborhood drama, I'd be ready to kick back, grab a cold one, and call it a day, but nah. This story wasn't ready to quit, and neither was I. Karen? Well, she didn't go quietly into that good night. Nope. She left with a little parting gift that felt like a punch straight to the gut. An icy, typed resignation letter, dropped cold and unceremoniously on the community board, marked effective immediately. No apology, no press release, no public explanation. Just the sound of a queen losing her throne without so much as a royal farewell. And honestly, nobody missed her. Her name had become the neighborhood's bad joke, whispered behind closed doors and shared with thin smiles. The woman who built her empire on petty rules and paranoia was finally gone. Now, the person stepping into her shoes was someone you wouldn't expect. Celia, a community college ethics teacher. Yeah, you read that right. The same place Karen never bothered to study now had a graduate in charge of teaching the neighborhood how to play by the rules. Talk about irony served cold like a slice of humble pie with a side of I told you so. Celia stepped up, promising transparency, fairness, and a fresh start. It was like watching a rerun where the villain gets a rewrite and the neighborhood gets its happy ending. Standing there on my lot, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Peace. Not the quiet kind that sneaks up on you when nobody's watching, but the kind you earn by standing your ground, by playing smarter than the smartest bully, and by knowing exactly when to hold your fire. I didn't scream or yell or threaten. No, I just invoiced the truth, served it cold, and watched it echo louder than any carnival horn ever could. The gravel beneath my boots was clean, freshly rolled, no more oil stains or busted signs. That empty lot, it wasn't just dirt and stones anymore. It was a trophy, a silent monument to the fact that some boundaries can't be trampled just because someone thinks they're entitled. That fight had changed everything. And it's funny how the neighborhood shifted after that. People who once avoided me like the plague started knocking on my door, shaking hands, sharing stories, even joking about the carnival that blew up, bigger than anyone expected. The HOA meetings? Now, open, honest, and shockingly useful, residents actually get to speak up without getting shut down. It's like the whole community finally remembered how to be a neighborhood again, with real conversations, real transparency, and real accountability. And me? I'm no longer the angry outsider, but a guy people invite over for coffee and the occasional friendly debate. But the real kicker? On the anniversary of that infamous carnival, the neighborhood held a new event, the Unity Market. And guess what? It was legal, insured, held where it belonged in the community park, with permits, security, and respect for every single person who showed up. And yeah, I was invited as an honored guest. They even sold t-shirts that read, "I asked before I fessed," which I proudly bought and wore like a badge of honor. That day, I shook hands with more neighbors than I had in years, and it felt like the full-circle moment we all deserved. It was the kind of redemption story even a cynic like me could get behind. If you've been dragged through your own HOA nightmare, or just love watching the underdog school the bully with brains and patience, this one's for you. Remember, power is a game, and sometimes you gotta learn the rules, play it smarter, and wait for the perfect moment to flip the whole board. So if this story's hitting home, smash that like button, share your own HOA horror tales in the comments, and subscribe for more real talk on fighting the little battles that mean a lot. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next, because sometimes the quietest victories echo the loudest. Here's to the long games, the quiet victories, and the kind of strength that comes from knowing when to hold your fire and when to send the invoice. And if Karen taught me anything, it's that entitlement can build kingdoms, but justice and a well-timed legal letter can bring them crashing down. Thanks for sticking with me through this roller coaster. Now go out there, know your rights, hold your ground, and always remember, the next move is yours.